back on Boond Soch ttalk train of thought with a series of an episode with Mr. Virendra Gupte, who is a consultant, corporate trainer and company director, and for 37 years he was part of Tata International Limited as an ex-head for trade services and chief ethic counselor. As a great insights, what we have covered his entire journey and also talking in terms of the business ethics and the business excellence which is here. Sir, welcome back to this episode. Now, when we talk in terms of VUCA world, like since you are the assessor and the trainer on social accountability and also in terms of an enterprise aspects which are there, and in terms of an VUCA world, like where do one stand like?
Doctor, I will split my response in two parts. First, let us look at the whole concept of the VUCA world. I'm sure everybody is aware what VUCA stands for. VUCA is an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity. And that is the world which we are inherited now. So therefore, when one dissects the VUCA part, that is very bewildering and confusing, and therefore it's quite a dilemma or a challenge from macro level governments to industry to organizations and to also practitioners, professionals working the company, business vertical heads. So to my mind, I would look upon VUCA as a dashboard. When you look at each of this, the volatility part in terms of, let's say, exchange rates, you see the rupee dollar, how it is progressing right now. To oil prices, for example, commodity prices triggered by the Russia-Ukraine war, and so on and so forth. So these are macro scenarios. Volatility, and then the uncertainty part in the world, post-pandemic recovery, the unfortunate Russia-Ukraine war which has lingered, and then the disquiet around in our neighborhood, etc. So there are those undercurrents of geopolitical repercussions. Complexity in terms of rules, regulations, So on the one hand, technological disruptions happening, resulting into new, surprising and interesting ways in which technology is now connected to people, right? But on the other hand, there are complexities and ambiguity in terms of interpretation from regulators or government point of view. The 4G to 5G, the 6G, etc. And therefore, drones used for commercial purposes, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. So in short, Industry 4.0. And therefore that the whole, when you look in the summation, the VUCA world therefore is a matter of, is a challenge. And to my mind, that is to be looked as a dashboard. Each one of us in our respective spheres, especially when we are into international business environment, need to look at minutely the repercussion of VUCA and what could be the advantages and opportunities available there. So it's not basically a scenario of doom in that sense. It is also about trying to figure out where are the opportunities available. So each company will have to do their own SWOT, their strategic planning exercise and so on to really look at VUCA and also the opportunities that are available. Certain sectors, for example, so certain industries may have a setback or difficulties. Certain sectors may have some, some promise going forward, etc. So the VUCA therefore is your template which needs to be visited, revisited constantly. It's not a one-off exercise. VUCA has to be tracked virtually on a daily basis, possibly. And therefore from there, organizations will have to, leadership will have to look at what could be the response of the company to the VUCA world. And there are no easy answers because it's a tightrope. And therefore today the world is in a turmoil in that sense. Okay. On the one hand, the war, the geopolitical scenario. On the other hand, you have got issues which are the sword on your head relating to climate change, global warming, a decarbonized economy, the migration from fossil fuel to non-fossil, from linear economy to a circular economy. Now, these are broad agenda of the world which needs to be percolated down and to be addressed by corporates as well. So it's not only the government's responsibility or corporate, it's a collective, collaborative responsibility. So to my mind, therefore, VUCA is something which needs to be as a part of your, as a template which needs to be part of your dashboard. in that sense.
And so, what are the changing environment in the skill set like, to get to the demand of an corporate like in this VUCA world like?
So, if you look at as regards skill sets and competencies are concerned, yeah, of course, there's a churn right now. VUCA is one part of the story. The other is part of technological disruptions. And therefore, when human beings will be substituted by robots and bots, to that extent, there will be some challenges out there.
Correct.
And therefore, at any in any industry, in any sphere, one of the tasks which is now the challenge for any leadership organizations is basically about creating future-ready organization. Are we future-ready? And then will we be fit to win in the marketplace? And that that means that we'll have to re-examine our internal competencies of the company, skill sets, your talent, for example,
correct.
capabilities, for example. And that is now a major task across the world for not only organizations but also to governments and NGOs and everybody. Okay, how do you relook and in a way it is like reinventing yourself,
correct.
To make yourself contemporary and more importantly relevant. And I think many organizations are spending a lot of money in terms of reskilling or upskilling. That cater at different levels, right from shop floor level to the highest level, decision making level. And the reason is because in a knowledge society, disruptions are happening every other day. Technological disruption, business model disruptions. And therefore, from that point of view, the bigger challenge is the skill sets upgradation. And for me, the worry is about the new generation of youngsters.
Correct. So
who are going to step into not only the corporate world but in any other sphere.
Correct. If you see the basic specific functions, if you see the major trends have been the courses which move from focusing on the specific function to the multidisciplinary approach.
True.
So how the student should be ready towards that?
I think you're right, and that's a very valid question. And I don't think there are ready answers. A lot of people are applying their minds to bring about some sense in that madness. I think from students' perspective, especially those who are at the threshold of their career, it is very important that a huge amount of hard work is now required, not only in terms of that narrow domain or expertise they would have gained as, let's say, a B school student or an engineering student or an IT engineer. We need a little more broader perspective in terms of skill sets, and that means a little bit of versatility in the role, which means that when you are onboarded in a company, there will be challenges in the company in terms of operating the organization. There will be challenges in terms of restructuring, issues about cost, issues about relocating people, jobs, functions, tasks, outsourcing. There will be challenge of inorganic growth like M&A. Now, in that type of churn that is happening, how does an individual in a company withstand that? In a way, this is basically the challenge of change in that sense. How do we assimilate it?
Correct.
And from that point of view, those who will survive possibly this onslaught, or let's say tsunami, tsunami of change, would be basically adaptability.
Correct.
One is the mindset that you are willing to get into different roles and willing to undergo that rigor in terms of assimilation, some new tools of the trade, skill sets, etc.
So they need to upscale at
they need to upscale, they have to have an open mind, flexible approach and attitude, can-do mindset, and not be questioning that change happening around, because change is inevitably happening. We may choose to ignore it, but to our own peril. And from that point of view, I think it is a survival kit in that sense for that individual to remain relevant. Otherwise, that person will be swept away in that sense. Because there will be new challenges and skills. Like, doctor, if I may, since you have asked me this question, in my early career in the company when I joined, in that era, in the 80s, the people who are most valued in the company are appreciated were the stenographers. Those ladies who took shorthand and those who do the typing work, etc. And those who do mental manual calculations in the accounts department. And the role of a telephone operator, etc. Where are they now? And therefore, they have become redundant over a period of time. Right? And I think that is the same thing that is going to happen again. because some of the mundane tasks which we perform will also go away. Right? They will be replaced by automation. And to that extent, we need to go to the next level in terms of assimilating new skills and capabilities and competencies.
Correct. It's a great insight what we're getting from Mr. Virendra Gupte on this ttalk equals Soch ki. I'm sure like in this VUCA world, we are all a part of an VUCA world, but again, like each and every challenges which are there throws an equal number of an opportunities which do exist. We are going to catch up with an artificial intelligence and the machine learning. But down the line, yes, human touch is going to be there, and everything is there for everyone. I'm sure, like at one point of time, we were more concerned in terms of the computer comes, what will happen to the employability factor. I think once we came into the era of a computer, things have transformed and opened a lot many opportunities for the employees to get into those kind of an upskilling. So in this VUCA world, we need to ensure, as rightly said by Mr. Virendra Gupte, that you need to upskill yourself in the changing dynamic world which is there. So thanks a lot for changing this valuable insights with our target audience, and I'm sure with your experience and the expertise and working with the larger organizations like Tata International for 37 years and the disciplined way where you have gone across ahead with your journey, I'm sure a lot of inspiration for our target audience.
Thank you.
If you like Mr. Virendra Gupte's conversation, just go to www.ttalk.net, subscribe, like the channel as much as you can. Do catch up with Mr. Virendra Gupte in our next episode of ttalk equals Soch ki. Thank you very much. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.